Hello everybody, this is Paco3D.art and today we're going to be doing a 3D crate. So the last video that we saw online, we did a brick in 3D, and the brick was essentially just doing something very basic, but we did the whole thing and it was done all in one video. This time, however, we'll be doing something that's slightly more complicated, so we're just ramping it up. But we are doing it in the style of Sea of Thieves, which still has like a little bit of that sculpted kind of detail, but it's still a little bit minimal, like it's not too much. It still has plain strokes, it still has interesting details where it needs to be done. But they have a... how would I explain it? A art style that is still restrictive in a good way, because it's all about just having the right amount of details and the asset is just there to complement with everything else as a composition. And what's really good about this as well is it's not just about learning where to put the details in the right places, so it's not too busy or noisy. It's also about getting done assets in a way that is fast and efficient. So, talking about fast and efficient, it's still important that you still get assets that you can refer to in real life, so you can understand, for example, how wood chips or how wood breaks, or where you've got a little bit of that grain breaking, where would you put the nails, and how things are constructed. However, I don't want to take too much more time. However, I will give a little bit of an outlook on what is the planning. So we are, or I would say, like the way they're going to be doing this, I still need to know. We got first video, which is essentially, it's going to be the blockout of the crate. So essentially it's going to be, how do we break it down into blocks or pieces. I'll be using, or I'm going to be using this one here. I recommend that you do something basic to start first, but it's still going to have a lot of pieces, because we're going to have each plank of wood is going to be separate geometry within Zbrush. But then after that, we're still going to have the nails as well. So we're going to have nails here, nails like that, and it's just going to be boxes with proper geometry, right? So after that, we are going to be doing the sculpting, and this is where we're going to do like, make sure that we add a bit more of the cracks and indentations with all those pieces, and then do some wavy things and do something that's like, it's got a bit more of the detail with the sculpture. Going afterwards that, we're going to do the Retopology plus UVs, and it's going to be a little bit more complicated to the brick that we did earlier. With the brick, I barely scratched the surface at all. Like, I just put in a generator on top of it and call it a day. This time it's going to be texturing like a proper video, maybe 2 videos even, where we're going to do a base colors, and after the base colors we're going to do some on top details with brush strokes, with paint strokes, and this is going to be more like hand painted. This is mainly because I've had started, so I'm going to open my Zbrush. Don't worry too much about the little piggy here. Let's go. That's another project I've been doing for fun. So let's get started with, we go instead of tool in here. Let's do a box. Now with the box, the geometry is always going to be a bit funky, but it doesn't matter. This one here is only going to be to get more or less the proportions, but we're not going to do anything with it. So we're just gonna go into the scale mode here, make it a little bit bigger like that, and slightly a little bit taller, right? Something like that. But we are not going to do anything with this. This is only for us. You get a bit of a, how do I say this? A bit of a understanding. Okay, so this is like the proportions, and this is where we're going to put all the different planks of the wood. Next, I'm going to do a, like, doesn't matter, you can just do insert, or you can do like a pen tool with another cube or something like that. But the thing is, we're going to be changing this with quite soon, because if you notice here in the top, if you press Shift F, geometry on the top here is not ideal. We want to make sure that we've got all the quads in the right places. The best way to change the geometry with this, if you go and move, scale, rotate any of these guys, if you press here in the customize button, there are some primitives that are way better than the polymesh 3Ds. Like they've got much more options. So if you press on that, you're gonna have the options in order to change the geometry a lot easier. So I can go in here and go, all right, so it's gonna have that much topology. But I know that this is going to be half the size, maybe this way. So I'm just gonna go like just 2 maybe. But I know that this is going to be quite long. So if I imagine it's got 1 square, so I'm gonna go 8. Just like that. Right. And now I'm gonna go inside of here, inside of the gear to scale. I'm gonna move this down until they become like kind of squarish. Go here sideways. Make it a little bit smaller. Now, I don't know why I haven't discovered this any sooner, but going in this inside of the settings, I always was like, oh, I don't know it enough. I'm not doing it. And I wished I used it sooner because it is so useful. It is insane. I'm gonna get out of perspective mode. I'm gonna go front mode. I'm just gonna scale it this way. It is okay to go slightly out of those dimensions. And just so we don't get confused, I'm gonna call this rename, gonna call this proportions. So we know like everything has to fit within those sets, but then we got this guy here. Now the way that I'm gonna do this is I'm going to already pre-prepare the bevels of this. There are several ways to do the bevels within Zbrush, right? There is no silver bullet. There is one of the ways that you can do this. You can go inside the geometry, and then you can go in systematic, and there's like a bevel mode there. But the way I'm going to do this is using crease, this one here. There is a crease all to a tolerance of 45 degrees. So the best way to see this is to get a bit closer, and it shows like a line that goes around with all the borders, anything that's kind of sharp. So if you now subdivide that, that doesn't change at all. Right, that stays sharp, which is really good, and you can still add subdivisions to everything equally. However, there's a bevel button, and the way the bevel button works is it finds anything that's been creased, and it will give it a bevel. So if I press on here now, and sometimes if you can scroll this, and it will already show you there. So we just want something that's like not too big, because we're gonna do this anyways ourselves with a clay tool. Not clay tool, train dynamic or something like that, and then you can just add a bit of resolution if you want, like that. And now if I subdivide this, you're gonna get some nice borders. It's gonna look smooth. It's not gonna look too like CG cut. I might undo that one more time and see if maybe we can increase that a little bit. And now if I subdivide it, you see it will not look too CG computer graphics like. So now that we've got the subdivisions there, you know, this is now where we can use this same piece, scale it around, and put it in different places. The thing with this, right, you might have geometry that's too elongated, like you will have very elongated rectangles. So the best way in order to deal with this later is to do a Dynamesh in order to get consistent geometry. Yeah, but that's like a sculpting mode that we do a bit later. So now that we got that piece there, let's do CTRL+SHIFT+D, move this down, right? And I'm just gonna move this here. I'm gonna try to match that part there. There's something as well, and yeah, just to click around, you can just click on Alt, click here. I'm gonna do CTRL+SHIFT+D again, and I'm gonna rotate this, holding down Shift, and I'm gonna put it down here as well. And I'm just gonna do this, trying to match this as much as possible, so I can see I've got 1 and 2 there. So I'm just gonna go in here, flatten this a little bit, like that, push this up, CTRL+SHIFT+D, move this here, right? And there's no right or wrong, like try to have fun. Like if you do it slightly different to me, that's actually fine. If anything, it is encouraged. Because otherwise, once you finish, you're going to be like, oh, look, I made a creator that's exactly identical to what I did. And I'd be like, no, man, no. You want things to look different, if anything. So this guy here, for example, it's okay if it's sticking out a little bit, but you don't want too much. And the reason is you want to make sure, how do I say this? You want to make sure that things are as tight as possible. So when you, how to explain this? So when you do the retopology, you're not going to have things that are going back and out too much. So I'm just gonna maybe scale this. And this is why we've got the dimensions box there. So we can just push this in, all right? And I'm gonna do the same with this guy here. Put down, push it back, scale a little bit. Okay, cool. I'm gonna try now, from now on, I'm gonna be very speedo gadget, right? So I'm just gonna go this way, grab this guy, CTRL+SHIFT+D, push this out. I'm gonna rotate it this way with shift. I'm gonna make this, oh no, because I need to, oh yeah, no, I want to make that part there first. A little bit. So I'm gonna go in this mode here. This is where, yeah, you can mute me if you want for a few minutes and just put some hardcore techno, man, or whatever music you like. If you want to put some opera music or some classical music. You also don't need to hear every single thing that I say, because sometimes I'm gonna be talking a lot of nonsense just to fill the voice or to fill the room. And you might be thinking, why is he still talking? Oh my god. He talks so much. When is he ever? Shut up. No, shut up. Still. So then, yeah. Sorry. If you want the scale to hop in a certain direction, you can move the pivot point by holding on Alt and then move it there. And now I just want to scale from this part there, so it doesn't cut into the block out there, but it's still sticking out in that direction. So I can go here and go, no, I just want to scale from this way there. So that's looking nice. Here it is sticking out a little bit on here, like you got a bit of an indent, but the indent is only happening inside of there. So I'm gonna push this in here. Give me a second. Let's do it this way then. So if you got subdivisions already, you can do subtool master. And then here you can use a mirror function, which will do the whole thing for you automatically. Mirror. Okay, and then this is where you can say, do it in this axis, do it in that axis, press OK. It's gonna do it there as well. And now I can do in the blue axis, which is the set. So I can go again, plug in, mirror, do this now in the set axis. Press OK. And there you go. It's done it both ways, right? So I'm gonna be doing that with these guys here. I'm gonna combine this one and this one together. So I'm gonna grab this one, go merge down, okay. And now I've got those pieces together, and I can split them later. That's fine. And now I'm gonna mirror them this way in the blue axis, which is the set axis. So I'm just gonna go again, plugging, subtool master, mirror. And then go set axis, and that's gonna go that way. Cool. Now that we got those pieces, what next part we can do is do these two here. So we can now, let's see which one is separate. This one here. CTRL+SHIFT+D. I just noticed that this exercise is actually fantastic because it's teaching you how to do the navigation, how to move around, how to use perspective, but at the same time, I wish that someone told me that this is the way, this is the best way to do the sculpting, because I remember there was this one time that I was doing a castle, right? And I was in a castle with all these different stones, and I was thinking, oh, you know, I'll just carve the stone into a solid mesh. And one of my friends looked at it and he's like, mate, why are you carving the stones? Just make the stones separate, you know? They don't need to be all like one piece, you know? You can just make them into separate pieces and then it will look better and you'll do less work. And, you know, and I was like, oh, yeah, actually, yeah, that's a valid point. Maybe I should have done it that way. And then ever since, You know, if something was actually built in real life separate, then make sure that that you do it separate in the sculpt as well, right? It will be like some scenarios will be like, you know what, if it's not noticeable or if it is hard to see, maybe don't do it. But the ambient occlusion, the curvature, it's going to look a lot better and it's going to look more believable as well. Overall, it's a lot more worth it. So, okay, so we got this piece here. And make sure that the crevices and all those pieces as well are pretty tight too. And we might do a little bit of randomization with some of these pieces. Like, it's okay if this one's a little bit narrower. And then this part here, maybe it's a little bit longer. And it's okay to, like, yeah, just randomize some of those pieces. A little bit. I'm gonna take out the transparent mode for a second so we can see now that we got all those pieces there. Like so. Cool. And yeah, you want this to be super tight. Like so, like so. But it is also okay if there's a slight hole, but you don't want that to be too big because otherwise the ambient occlusion will be painted very black and like so. It might be a little bit too obvious. So I think I might actually move this down. So I just want to see how much time. 20 minutes. I think considering how many things we're doing, I don't think that's too bad. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I've been doing this for 24 hours. And it's watching this video, you know, they're gonna get bored. They're gonna hate it. Yeah, I think people will eventually realize that there is quality of what I do here. All right, cool. So now we got those pieces there. And I think now, actually, this is the blockout. And we don't want to have too much more detail. I do wonder if, I think the part that I've got wrong is here. Can you see here how there's nothing? And here it's like 3. And that's the part that is sticking out. So I think this part here needs to be scaled in this way. There you go. Now that's, and it's okay if it's sticking out slightly, but you don't want too much. And now this is the part where, but we do need to do the bolts. And in order to read this in a video game, you can make them really tiny, but in a video game, it will be kind of hard to see. So you need to make them a little bit more accentuated, as we've got here with this shape. But there is a trick to it. You just have to mask everything but one face and then scale it down and that's it. And then we rotate it. So if we go insert and then go like a cube like that, move that to the side. And what you need to do is just go to polycube here. Make sure that you do all the sides to the 1, 1, 1, just like that. And then the next part you need to do is go to solo mode, so it's not too distracting. You mask by holding down Control, and then you do a big box with all the faces that are in the back. It's going to be kind of hard to see what's being masked out or not. But if you go now scale, to scale that in, it's only going to scale that one face in the front. And you want that, you can see how there is like a little face there. So you do like something like, yeah, it's okay to make it a little bit bigger, so it's a little bit easier to read. The next part with this is if you now subdivide this, it's going to be a little bit too soft, right? So the next third you do is you unselect or unmask anything that's been masked before. So now everything's unmasked. And now we're going to do very similar to what we did to the cubes earlier. We're going to crease everything and then add a bevel. So we're going to go now back to geometry. And we're going to go, and remember that it's only going to only happen to sharp edges, right? So we're going to go crease. So now crease is only seen if you go in Shift F mode, in wireframe mode. So we can see now those double lines. And now bevel here. You don't want something that's like too crazy. You want something slightly smaller and then add one of these guys there so it's all nice and quartz where the triangles are. Now if you subdivide this, it's gonna look very nice and easy to do a bit of sculpting and to do a little bit of customization, right? Maybe squish that a little bit there. Now if you get outside of solo mode, we can place these around the thing, we might need to rotate this. They go 90 degrees, and yeah, we can add those little fellas everywhere like crazy. I'm gonna skip ahead, but yeah, let's have a bit of fun actually. So a couple of minutes ahead, so 18 minutes. So I might just release this soon, but I'm just gonna scale this down, and I'm gonna duplicate this a few times. It's there's two, so I'm gonna go another one there. There's one here maybe, but I'm gonna make it a little bit tinier. It would be smarter. Actually, I'm gonna stop, because it would be smarter to maybe have 3 variations, and then you rotate it, you change one a little bit. Doing detail on each one is gonna be a bit overkill, right? And for you, if you want to have fun, if you want to try to do this yourself, feel free, or any of that extra stuff. But I will stop here. This is now the blockout of the crate, which is a lot of fun. Okay, and there you have it. You got a nice crate with the blockout. So, and even if you did a bake of this, it will look very nice because you got all those details there. You got all those details on indentations. Like you will still get really nice curvature, but we're gonna do a bit of cracks and indentations and things like that in the next video. I will do this quite quickly. Yeah. Feel free to subscribe if you really like this video and you want me to make more videos. The way the algorithm works inside of YouTube, the more subscribers there are, the more the content is being pushed into other people. And the higher the numbers, it means that more people get to learn the content that I do. If you think that my videos are of good quality and you're learning a lot of tips and techniques, you like my teaching style, then yeah, help me out to reach some more people out there. Okay. Next video will be sculpting. I'll see you guys around. Bye-bye.